Good morning, everybody. Do you remember last Thursday we watched a video of Emily Knight in year 5, and she and her family had put together a video about St. Peter because it was St. Peter's week last week. And do you remember Peter was in prison and Emily was Dorcas and she welcomed Peter back. Well, I wasn't going to do another St. Peter's video this week, but there was an amazing one that came in from 2 children in our school, from Ruby in year 5 and her sister Zara in year 3. And it was so good, I just wanted to share it with you. So the story is probably one you've heard many times before. It's about Peter and his friend John. After Jesus had gone to heaven, they were going about doing God's work and doing the things that Jesus had told them to do. And they went to the temple. And on their way to the temple, they were going in one of the gates called Beautiful Gate, which is why Beautiful Gate in Lesotho is called Beautiful Gate. They were going in the Beautiful Gate and they met a man there who was asking for money because he couldn't walk and he was a beggar. And I'm going to share this video with you now for your assembly this morning because it just reminds us that Peter carried on doing the work that Jesus wanted him to do. He carried on healing people and helping people. And at the end of the video, we're going to say a prayer together. Enjoy.
One afternoon, Peter and John were going to the temple to pray. There were lots of ways into the temple, many different gates, and the gate that Peter and John chose on this particular afternoon was the gate called Beautiful. It was covered all over in bronze and shone brightly in the blazing sun. Sitting outside the gate, however, was someone who did not feel beautiful at all. He was a poor, sick man who couldn't walk, who had never walked in his whole life, not ever. And so he sat there day after day, begging for what little money those passing by would give him. When Peter and John came near the man reached out his hand.
Can you spare some change, please?
He asked, hoping for something beautiful, like a shiny silver or gold coin. But Peter had something even better in mind.
I have no silver, nor gold, but I can give you what I do have, the power of Jesus working within me. And with that power, I tell you, stand up and walk.
Then Peter took the man's hand, and right away he wasn't sick anymore. He could feel the power in his feet and in his ankles and in his legs. So he stood up and he started to walk. And that's not all. He followed Peter and John through the gates into the temple. And by that time, he wasn't just walking. He was leaping too. Walking and leaping and praising God for what had happened to him. The people saw him and were amazed, and there was only one word for what they saw in his eyes and his face and his dancing feet. Beautiful.
That was fun, wasn't it? Thank you, Ruby and Zara, and also your mum and dad for helping you do that. And that went out to our church on our Facebook page for all our congregation to see, but I thought you'd like to see it as well in school. So we're going to say a prayer and we're going to close our eyes, and if you want to make it your prayer, you can say Amen at the end with me. Dear God, thank you for Peter, who after Jesus had gone to heaven, carried on doing your work on earth. Help us to carry on like Peter and help other people. Help us to be kind and to show people kindness when we meet them. Amen.